Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to look at the topic Key Characteristics of Shakespearean Tragedy. William Shakespeare, the greatest dramatist of Elizabethan age, perfected the form of tragedy by blending classical and modern elements. His tragedies explore the fall of great individuals due to their flaws, fate, and the circumstances surrounding them. This lecture presents the key characteristics that define Shakespearean tragedy and illustrates them with examples from his major plays. These are some of the key characteristics of Shakespearean tragedy. Tragic hero, hamartia or tragic flaw, conflict, supernatural elements, reversal of fortune, catharsis, fall and death of the hero, five-part structure. The tragic hero. Every Shakespearean tragedy centers around a tragic hero. He is a person of high rank, often a king, prince, or noble general who commands respect and admiration. Despite his greatness, he possesses an inherent weakness or commits an error in judgment that leads to his downfall. The tragic hero evokes both pity and fear. Pity for his undeserved suffering and fear that similar flaws exist within all human beings. For example, Macbeth's ambition and moral weakness drive him to commit murder, leading to his ruin. Hamartia, the tragic flaw or error. The word hamartia comes from Greek tragedy and refers to the hero's error or moral failing. It is not a simple mistake but a fundamental imperfection in character. This inner defect pushes the hero towards wrong choices and ultimately self-destruction. For instance, Othello's jealousy and gullibility blind him to truth and reason. Hamartia gives depth to the tragic hero by making his downfall a result of his own nature rather than external forces alone. And the next characteristic is conflict. Conflict forms the heart of Shakespearean tragedy. It appears in two forms, external and internal. External conflict may be between individuals or between man and fate, while internal conflict takes place within the hero's own mind. In Hamlet, for example, the prince struggles between his duty to avenge his father's death and his moral hesitation. Through such conflict, Shakespeare reveals the complexities of human nature and moral choice. Supernatural elements. Supernatural elements play a significant role in heightening the tragic atmosphere. Witches, ghosts, prophecies, and omens often influence the hero's actions and reflect the working of fate. The supernatural world is not merely decorative, it deepens the sense of mystery and moral consequence. The witches in Macbeth tempt the hero with visions of power, while the ghost in Hamlet sets the tragedy in motion. These elements blur the boundary between reality and illustration, reminding the audience of forces beyond human control. Reversal of fortune, peripeteia. Peripeteia or the reversal of fortune is a decisive turning point in the play. It marks the moment when the hero's fortunes change from prosperity to ruin. This shift usually results from hero's own actions or decisions, not from mere incident. In King Lear, the king's choice to divide his kingdom based on flattery triggers the loss of his power and dignity. Peripeteia reinforces the idea that even the greatest of men are vulnerable to error and its consequences. The next characteristic is catharsis. Aristotle described catharsis as a purging of emotions experienced by audience. In Shakespearean tragedy, this emotional release occurs through feelings of pity and fear. The audience pities the hero for his suffering and fears that similar flaws might exist within themselves. When order is restored at the end, this tension is released, producing a sense of emotional cleansing and moral insight. Catharsis is what makes tragedy not depressing but profoundly moving and thought-provoking. The fall and death of the hero. The inevitable result of the tragic action is the fall and death of the hero. However, this death is not meaningless. It carries moral and philosophical significance, restoring order to a world disrupted by human error. In Macbeth, Othello, and Hamlet, the deaths of the protagonists bring justice, reconciliation, and awareness of human limitations. Thus, the tragic end becomes both a punishment and a revelation. The five-part structure of a tragedy. Shakespeare's tragedies generally follow a five-part dramatic structure. First one is exposition, that is introduction of characters and background, and rising action is the development of conflict and complications. And the third part is climax, in which the point of highest tension and irreversible decision takes place. Falling action falling action is the unfolding of consequences and the decline of the hero. Catastrophe is the tragic ending, often marked by the death and restoration of order. For example, in Macbeth, the witch's prophecy and Duncan's murder mark the rising action and climax, while Macbeth's downfall and death form the catastrophe. This structure ensures logical progression and emotional impact throughout the play. Shakespearean tragedy portrays the fall of a noble hero through the interplay of character, fate, and moral weakness. It combines elements of human psychology, moral reflection, and poetic grandeur. The tragic hero's downfall, though inevitable, serves to illuminate universal truths about ambition, jealousy, pride, and the limits of human control. Through suffering and death, order is restored, and the audience experiences a deeper understanding of life's moral fabric. Thank you.